Hello friends, this is my first video that I've filmed since giving birth. I will introduce you to Legend now. I would have him in the video with me, but he's taking a very good nap, and his first like 1 or 2 naps of the day are a little bit harder for him to put himself to sleep, so don't want to interrupt this good one. So I thought for the first video I would just answer some questions about his birth, and I think there might be some postpartum ones, but I am planning to do a birth video as well as like birth story where I like talk through everything in the future. I actually just watched some of the footage from my birth. I think I watched it yesterday or the day before. So that was very emotional and intense to watch, but also very beautiful. So I am excited to put together a birth video. I am debating like how much to show because there is a lot of blood at some points. There is a lot of screaming. So I'm debating if I should put that in the video. Let me know what you guys think. I just feel like all the birth videos I watched, I don't know if they just excluded that, but a lot of them, or they just didn't scream or what, but I feel like a lot of them didn't include some of those really intense moments, or they just didn't experience them. So I like want to stay true to what the birth was actually like and include those. So that's kind of what I'm leaning, but it is a lot. And I know some people may not want to see that, but I guess they could skip. But I don't know, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's get into the questions. So the first question is name explanation. So if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, his official name is Legend Cruise Wolfgang. And the name explanation, so I think we mentioned in our baby names video that we had picked out the name Malachi for a boy for like most of our marriage. That was our boy name, but then as time went on I like didn't love it anymore, and I think it also started becoming more popular. So I was like, okay, I don't know, I just wasn't in love with it anymore. So one day I was driving, this was before I was pregnant, and I was just like asking for a different name and just like kind of like driving in silence, just saying like, okay, what could be another name? And the word legend came to my mind. So I don't know if it was like a God thing, but it just seemed so random, like such a random word to just pop into my mind. And I was like, legend, like Legend Wolfgang. I think with our last name it sounds really good. Because our last name is very bold and masculine, and I feel like the name Legend is very bold and masculine. So I really liked it with our last name. I told Kyle about it. Again, this is before I was pregnant, and he did not like it. He was like, no, it's a little, I don't know if he thought it was like too much, like a little aggressive or what, but he just like wasn't sold on it. But then I don't know if it was like before I got pregnant or after I got pregnant, he started coming around, and then he's like, wait, I actually love this name. So that is kind of the story behind his name. And then his middle name, we had 2 ideas for his middle name. My idea was Fury, so it would have been Legend Fury Wolfgang, but I think it was just too intense. Like, there's no good meaning of the word Fury. It would have just been a really, it kind of just sounds like an MMA fighter's name or something, like Legend Fury. I think that's where I got the name idea from, was actually from a fighter. I think there's like 2 brothers called like the Fury brothers or something like that. Anyway, so that was my other idea for the middle name. I don't think I ever would have committed to it. I just thought it was a cool, really cool, bold name. And then the other idea was a cruise. So that one, I wasn't like obsessed with at first, but it did have a little bit more meaning. So it's C-R-U-Z, but someone had suggested it because we met on a cruise. So it was kind of a play on that. So I thought that was sweet, but then on top of that, I looked up what the definition of cruise was, like what does it mean? I think it is a Spanish name. And if you don't know, I'm half Mexican. I don't speak Spanish, but it is part of my heritage. So that's cool. But in Spanish, Cruz means cross. So when you put his name together, we were like, oh, Legend of the Cross, Wolfgang. And yeah, that is kind of the symbolism of his name. And also, I thought Elsie would be a cute name because I loved Elsie, Lauren Conrad on the Hills growing up. So I thought it was kind of fun to have like more of a like light feminine nickname in case. And he could go by Cruz if he doesn't like Legend, or he could go by Elsie. So anyway, long story short, that is the name. A long story long, that is the name. Okay, let's get into some of the labor questions. I'm going to try to get to these fast because I only have 16 minutes left on this memory card. The first question is, did you have back labor? Yes, I'm pretty sure most of my labor was in my back because my tailbone was killing me. I felt most of my contractions in my back. And after birth, it was really hard to even like sit down for long periods of time because my tailbone, I think, was bruised. So I believe he was sunny side up, so the back of his head was rubbing against my tailbone throughout majority of my labor. Also, I will mention that my labor was 36 hours long because I did post that on Instagram, but I haven't said that here. I don't know technically when my active labor started. I'm counting 36 hours from when my contractions were 2 to 3 minutes apart. And that started at 11:30 p.m. the night of the 4th of July. And he was born July 6th at 10 a.m. So that's how I'm getting like this 36-hour labor time. But I don't know if I would consider the whole time active labor. I don't really know how they count that. But anyway, yeah. The next question was, did you do a water birth? No, I wish I could have given birth in the water, but the water was cold by the time I was pushing and we ran out of hot water. So unfortunately, no, I really wish I could have. I did go in the birth tub the night of the 5th and was able to labor in there for a little bit, so I did get some part of that experience, but I actually ended up giving birth in our hallway. And somebody asked, why did you give birth in the hallway? Like, if I could choose, it wouldn't have been in the hallway. I think in my birth story and birth vlog you'll see, but basically I was laboring on the toilet most of my labor, and in order to get the baby to come out, they're like, you need to get up, you need to get in some kind of squat. And so I used a birth sling and attached it to our bedroom door. And that is where I ended up giving birth. As soon as I got in that squat, he was out in like 2 contractions, I think. So that's why I ended up giving birth in a hallway. Somebody asked, how am I doing and feeling? Honestly, it is, I think, just over 2 weeks postpartum, and I'm feeling so good. Downstairs is still healing. I did have a tear and stitches, so that is really the only thing that's feeling really uncomfortable. My tailbone does still get a little bit of pain if I'm sitting on it for a long period of time, but it's much better than it was the first week. The first few days, it was like I was a cripple. Seriously, like Kyle was walking me everywhere around the house. He was changing my diaper, like helping me go to the bathroom, washing my butt. Like literally, it was like I had like somebody, like a full-time caretaker. But I'm definitely feeling a lot better now. Mentally, I'm feeling really good. I'm filming a video, which I was really surprised by, that like I feel super inspired to like work and kind of get back into things. I thought I would like not want to do anything for like months, but yeah, I feel actually really inspired and good. And not to say there weren't times where I was like a little bit overwhelmed or emotional with my hormones. There definitely was that too. Was Kyle the only person there for delivery? No, my midwife was there and she had an assistant who was there. He was the only one there when the head came out. He actually caught Legend's head, but then my midwife came, like he called for help, and my midwife came and helped him deliver the rest of the baby's body. Did you experience a birth high after he was born? No, and I think probably a lot of that is due to how long my labor was. So by the time he was born, I was in labor for 36 hours, so I was very out of it. You will see in my birth video that I don't even think I smiled after he was born, or like the whole, I don't even remember smiling the whole first day. Maybe like a few hours after he was born I was able to smile, but I definitely did not experience a high. I was just so exhausted and out of it, and in some sense kind of like traumatized from how much pain I just experienced. So no, unfortunately did not. But I hear, you know, you kind of go into la la land and you just kind of turn into a very primal state, so you're not really in tune or present with your emotions. So maybe in future births I will be able to be more present and kind of feel that euphoria afterwards, but not this time. Next question is, did you contemplate going to the hospital at any point during your labor? Yes, definitely. I don't know if I was seriously contemplating it. We didn't really entertain the idea, but I definitely, by the end of that, by the end of July 5th, so I had gone into labor the night of July 4th, and by the end of the next day, I think I was telling Kyle that I was done and I couldn't do it anymore and I wanted relief. I don't know if I ever said I want to go to the hospital, but I definitely implied it. Maybe I did say it. I don't remember a lot, but maybe I did tell him I wanted to go to the hospital. I just like wanted it to be over. But he wasn't like, he didn't entertain the idea, so he wasn't like taking me seriously, which I'm grateful for, because he knew what I wanted. He knew I didn't really want to go to the hospital. I just wanted my labor to be over. And so, yeah. But I definitely thought about it. And if I was at a hospital, I would probably have definitely gotten an epidural. Somebody asked, how did you know the baby's position was wrong? My midwife was able to feel where he was in my body, and so not only was he sunny side up, I think he ended up flipping, but he also, like, I guess his head was on the wrong side of my pelvis. So at one point, the morning he was born, he was not in my pelvis, so we had to do some insane things and like different stretches. I had to get upside down for 3 contractions, and she had to like shift him, like lift him into my pelvis. But let me tell you, it worked, because after we did those, my water broke and he was here within a couple hours after that. Did you listen to worship music, and what was it? I only listened to one worship song. I think I listened to it maybe 3 or 4 times throughout my labor, and it was Break Every Chain. I don't know why. I mean, I love that song, but it was a nice like 9-minute live version, and that's like the only song I could think to ask Kyle to play. I think going back, I probably would have created like a playlist of worship music and had it going, but I also listened to the Christian hypnobirthing app, specifically the playlist that said Prayers for Strength, and I just had that looping over and over again, and that actually really helped me throughout the labor. She just kind of like reads scripture and encourages you, and it's like very calming, so really like that. Do you experience fetal ejection reflex? I believe so. He came out very fast. Like I said, Kyle caught him, so I'm pretty sure I did, because it was all in one push. So I think that's what it is. Delayed cord clamping, yes. I think we didn't cut his cord for like 2 hours, I'm pretty sure. He was attached to it before we cut it. Kyle just like hung out with him while I was getting stitched up. And they just had the placenta in like a little baggie next to him while they were on the couch. Somebody asked, was it expensive doing a home birth? Compared to a hospital birth, it's not expensive. but it just depends on your insurance. So we use Christian healthcare ministries. I can have our referral link in the description. I think you might get something from it. But we had a really good experience with them, and they cover 100% of home births. So we got the whole thing covered. It would have been $10,000, I believe, around there without insurance. But I'm pretty sure hospital births without insurance are like $20,000 to $40,000. So it just depends. But if you are interested in a home birth, I would highly recommend getting on the Christian Healthcare Ministries Gold Plan, because they cover like so much under that. You just have to make sure you're on it, I believe, 30 days before conception. So keep that in mind. Okay, next question is it true you immediately forgot about the pain when the baby's out? No, that was not true for me. Like I said, I did not have that euphoric feeling. I was like crying afterwards, and probably not because I got to meet my baby, but more so because I couldn't believe how, like, I was just processing all the pain that I just felt. And just how crazy it was. So I think, yeah, I did not forget. I think as the days go on, you start forgetting, and it becomes a blur. And I hear by like 6 months, you can kind of like, 6 months to a year, you kind of like really do forget a lot of the pain. But I think that's just part of God's design, is he like designed us to forget the pain over time in order to do it again. Because if you ask me if I would do it again 2 weeks out, I would probably say yes. But if you ask me right after birth, I could not even talk to you about it or think about going through labor again. Somebody asked, what is the most unexpected thing? For me, I was really surprised that during my entire labor, I did not think, or I wasn't motivated by meeting my child, meeting our son at all. Like, that just did not cross my mind at all. At no moment was I like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I get to meet our son. I don't know why. I don't know if you're just so in the moment and like you have to be so present with all of what your body's feeling. I just like was not wrapping my mind around that. I don't know if it's because he came early, so it felt like I wasn't ready almost, or like wasn't prepared. Like I hadn't gotten to that point where I was like, oh, I just can't wait for him to be here. I can't wait to like give birth. I wasn't like anxiously awaiting to go into labor. It was kind of spontaneous. So I'm wondering maybe if that's why. But that was definitely unexpected. I thought like the whole time I was gonna be like, oh, I can't wait to meet my baby. Like, let's do this to meet my baby. And like, no, I did not. Like, I forgot that I was even getting a baby at the end of my experience, to be honest. Okay, last question is, after giving birth, what did you wish you had done to prepare? Okay, there's probably a way better answer to this, but just some things that are on the top of my head. I wish I had gotten a wax down there. I was supposed to get one like that weekend, and then obviously I went into labor earlier than I expected, so I didn't get that in time. But since I had to get stitched, I just really wish I was waxed down there. It would be making it just like way more comfortable and feel way more clean. So that's something I wish I did to prepare more. I wish during my labor, I wish I like was laboring in the shower more and like I wish I just labored around my house more and in different rooms and positions, because I was on the toilet like almost my whole labor. I just wish I would have got up and like got in the shower and like did some more things, gone into more positions. But it was really hard to put myself in more positions because everything felt so uncomfortable compared to the toilet. But it worked, but that's probably something I would change. I guess that's not to prepare, but that's something I definitely would change. And there's probably a lot of other things. Maybe I can make another video talking about it. But those are all the questions I'm going to answer for today. Thank you guys so much for all your sweet words, your congratulations, and your prayers. Legend is doing amazing. He's just so sweet. He has just been so great at eating and sleeping, and I'm so grateful for that. I know it can change by the week, by the day, so I'm not holding on to anything too tightly, but for now I'm very grateful for how our first 2 weeks have gone. But I love you guys. If you guys want me to do another Q&A, I totally can, and in the meantime I'll be working on those other videos like my birth story and the birth vlog. So thank you guys so much. I love you guys, and remember, Jesus loves you more.